Hey guys, Bronson here. Wanted to share with you today about wealth affirmations that have changed my life, have allowed me to 10x my net worth in the last 4 years. Now, I didn't come from a wealthy family, maybe you didn't either, and I was able to change the way that I think, and it allowed me to change my wealth habits and to actually become wealthy. So I'm going to give you some very specific information around creating wealth affirmations for yourself in ways that you can grow your income and especially your mindset around money. And we're going to do it in 3 easy steps. All right, so step number 1, you are programmed to be poor. I recently did a video about why you're not wealthy. If you haven't checked that video out, you should check it out up here. Basically, it talks about 2 things. One is about your habits, your financial habits, what you actually do in regards to money. The second really is about your mindset. And this is really going to delve into mindset and how we actually change our programming, right? Like Neo in the Matrix. How do you change your programming so that you actually can be downloaded with thinking differently about money? So Jim Rohn has this great quote, and it says, "You are the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with." Now, the reason I like that is because if you really think about the people that you grew up with, maybe your family or your friends, you'll just think, the people around you, if they're not wealthy, if they're not people that have good financial habits, then you're going to basically pick up some of those same habits that they've had. Again, to really get that, to be able to have a different average of 5 other people, you've got to change the way that you think. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. Also in the US, we have a lot of, the average American consumer has so much debt. It says we're at record levels of debt in 2020. And it only continues. So again, our culture is this way, our families, a lot of our friends, people we know. And so the only way to really change that is to change our mindset and also get around different people. But really, when we change our mindset, that will honestly often draw different people around us as well. So we're going to talk a little bit about self-talk. People think about affirmations. They think, man, what is an affirmation? That sounds kind of crazy. Well, we all do affirmations. We all talk to ourselves, right? Maybe you caught yourself kind of talking to yourself. I mean, if you really think about it, something happens. How often has this been your line here? You'll say, "I'm so stupid," or if I only did this, it wouldn't turn out this way. I wish I was smarter. Or I'll never have money. That's one thing that common around money people say is, I'll never have money. And that's a common phrase people will say. Other people say, it's not fair. It's just not fair that these people have money, or that they're able to drive this car, or they're able to go on these trips. It's just not fair. And other people say, I wish what they had. I wish I had what they had. I'm jealous. I wish I had stuff that's over there. So what all of this can lead to is it can keep you in a place of being poor, not just physically poor, but you actually become poor in your mind. You become poor in the way that you think about yourself in relation to money. And all of this really creates a victim mindset. And if you're a victim, it means you can't change anything in your life. And so what we want to try to do is get rid of that victim mindset, change that, and really help try to change some of the programming there. So people ask this question like, why does it work? Or how do affirmations work? Honestly, I don't know fully how it works. I don't know all of the science. I just know that it works. Because again, we have this default that if somebody said something to you that was harmful, they said, you're not good looking, or you're not smart, whatever. We can play those tapes from when we're a kid, and they just continue to replay. So if we are able to bring new information, be able to meditate on those things, it begins to change the way that our brains actually work, and we begin to have a whole different framework going forward. So really how it works, and this is what I'm going to say real quick about how it works, is affirmations do not work for most people. And the reason why they don't work is because people do not take consistent effort. They don't have consistent effort or action. So if I have all the intention in the world, hey, I'm going to do all this stuff, I'm going to change the way I think about whatever, and then you don't actually create affirmations, which takes work. It takes work to write intentional affirmations. And the second thing is they don't practice them regularly. Now, I have 15 different affirmations that I read every morning, and there's some around finances, there's some around faith, there's around family, there's around fitness, personal goals, the way I see myself, my values. And I've watched as those things, as I read them every morning. I really suggest people do it in the morning. You should do it in the morning because it does allow things to actually change in your life. So people will say affirmations are cheesy. There's that Saturday Night Live skit where the guy says, "I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and gosh darn it, people like me."
I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me.
And so that's kind of how we feel sometimes about affirmations. So really, before we start really looking at how you create these affirmations, it's important to really understand why. So your why for becoming financially free, or your why for getting to the next level or thinking differently about money, is really, really important. So if you haven't watched my video on understanding your why for financial freedom, you can check out that video up here and it will really help you. So we're going to get into how people actually become financially free. Before we do that, please go ahead and smash that like button. We'll help other people to find this video. We'll be back with step number 2. All right, so this is step number dos, how to create affirmations. So it's really important before we talk specifically about wealth affirmations. We just talk about affirmations and how to actually create them. So there's this great book by Napoleon Hill. If you haven't read it, he's not my cousin because his last name is Hill, but he is was an amazing guy close to 100 years ago. Was around, interviewed a lot of really wealthy people and found there were a lot of common things that kind of linked them together. And so one of his quotes here, which I love, it says, "Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve." And so there's two things that are really important from that. It's that basically if you can imagine it, if you can conceive it and come up with it, it's great, but you also have to be able to believe it. And affirmations really help with both of these, right? You create an affirmation where you conceive something amazing, and then you actually have a practice of how you're actually walking that through and believing and continuing to walk forward in that. So I talk to a lot of people, and people say, Bronson, I don't know, sometimes in my life, or I've just, my background, I've seen this where people say, I know something to be true in my head, meaning I know I'm loved, I know I'm important, I know I have all that I need, but I don't feel like I'm valuable, I don't feel loved, I don't feel like certain things in my life are happening the way they should. And again, I know it in my head, but I don't feel it in my heart. And so there's a separation between our head and our hearts. And this is not uncommon, right? Because there's things we intellectually know, but we just don't feel it to be true. Another example of this is, in life, words are incredibly powerful. So the words that we choose to say to ourselves, the words we choose to say to others, they actually create new things in our lives. So words themselves actually become creative. So this is what affirmations are. Now, my faith background, I think of, back in Genesis, talks about when God created and he said, let there be light, and then there was light. He actually spoke it, and it was created through the speaking. This actually happened. So I'm not going to get too mystical or existential, but if something is not able to be spoken or is not written down, is it something you really can identify or say this thing exists? So if whatever it is you are looking to create in your life, if you're looking to create wealth, you're looking to create a relationship, you're looking to create different things in your life, you have to be able to speak those things and say, hey, this is something that exists, or this is something I'm creating now as a possibility, and then you're choosing to believe that it could happen. So again, I don't mean to get too woo-woo, but I think this is incredibly true that words are creative. So, again, if you're speaking negativity all the time, it's going to have a dramatic effect. If you're speaking life, wherever your words are now, that's kind of where you're headed. So in the next 3 to 5 years, you're going to begin to see that in your life because the universe responds to us as we do that. So there are 3 types of affirmations. And we're going to get into those specific 3 types. But again, this is not just for wealth. This is all different types of things. As I said, I do these for different sorts of things as well. So 3 different types here. The first one really has to do with identity, with who you are. Not just what you do, not a goal, but just, hey, this is who you are as a person. And I would say there's a lot of things that are really important compared to, with your values, what you're looking to do and accomplish in your life with wealth. And so here's an example. I, Bronson, am fully dedicated to growing my wealth. Now you can see I did a couple things there. I wrote it with my name in there. I think that's really powerful if you put your name in the affirmation. And then I wrote it basically in the present tense. So I didn't say, I, Bronson, am going to be really wealthy, or I'm going to do this, or this is going to happen. I'm saying now, like I am fully dedicated to growing my wealth. So you got to write it in present tense. So again, you're not tricking your mind, but you're basically saying, this is who I am. Very, very powerful identity affirmations. Another one is you could say is, I, Bronson, am wildly successful in business and in life, right? You can see it's got a very specific, okay, this is who I am. This is right now, not what I'm going to, but this is who I actually am. And again, if you don't feel it, there's a separation. I don't feel it over here. It's not in my heart. I don't feel it. Well, the more you say it, the more it actually, you do begin to feel it. So Very powerful. Second one is a goal affirmation. And goal affirmation obviously has to do with a specific thing that you're wanting to see in your life, and there's more parameters around it. So for example, it's 12/31/21. I, Bronson, have $1 million in income and $10 million in net worth. So you can see this one is different, right? It's different than the first one because it has a very specific date. I'm not saying, this is what's going to happen. Say, no, it's 12/31. So again, I'm tricking my mind in a way saying it's this day right now. And on this day, this is happening. So again, I'm pulling it to the present tense that I, Bronson, have $1 million in income and $10 million in net worth. And there's something called a SMART goal, which stands for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and a timeline to it. Now in this, those are all good because you have a timeline, it's very specific, it's measurable, I have very measurable things here. As far as the attainable and realistic, I want you to really push yourself when you write your affirmations, because when you actually write them, if I don't get to 1 million or if you don't get to 10 million, and that, you're going to get a lot closer than you would have otherwise, right? Because, but when you actually start saying this, what happens is your mind, your subconscious, the world, the universe, everything starts to kick into gear where it really allows you to, see things very differently, and in the world you see things differently. And it just begins to kind of magically happen. I don't know how it happens, but it does happen. So the third thing here that I want to mention, we have identity goals and we have pre-recorded. Some people love the pre-recorded ones. You can check out one up here. That's a pre-recorded YouTube video that just talks through, I am a money magnet, money flows to me. This one hasn't been as powerful for me. Some people love this. And so just pick one that works for you. My favorite is the goal one because again, it's very specific and it's very measurable. So I think that's really great. So now we've talked a little bit about affirmations. We're going to talk now how you can create your wealth affirmations, and I think you're going to love it. So stick around for step 3. All right, so this is step number 3. What are wealth affirmations? And this step is actually going to require work from you to actually do some of the work. I'm going to give you some tools, but you're going to be one that's going to do it. So for example, I love this using my phone, basically getting affirmations, getting right on my phone. I get them on here, and there's this great program. It's called Keynote. You can check it out if you have an iPhone or whatever phone you have. If you have an Android, you can use Slides or you can use eMaze, a couple other apps that you can use. But I'm going to share an example of one of mine so you can kind of follow along with this as I read it. So it's one I read every morning. I, Bronson, am wildly successful in business and in life, and my skills and ideas are generating $1 million per year in income as an entrepreneur by June 2022 and $100 million in net worth by June 2029. And you can see I've got an image in there. I've got, I try to put some emotion behind it. Those things really make it powerful. So you can basically create these statements for you as well. There's specific measurable things in there. But that's an example of kind of how it works for me. And then really these are the steps, right? These are the steps that I would say that you should do kind of, because again, you can watch this video and it doesn't change anything, but take some time, schedule it out, find out, what is it you want, changes do you want to see in your life? Maybe it's wealth, maybe it's other things, but create 10 affirmations. If you can create 10 things, write them down in a journal, then you can transfer them over to an app. You can put other things in there. I would say, do it daily. Sometimes even maybe in the beginning, do it twice a day, or just pull it out when you're in the bathroom or you're on the go, whatever, just looking in your car mirror. Just say those things. And especially, I'd say the morning especially, I try to do it right when I get up in the morning, because I feel like in the morning, your mind is so open to suggestion in the morning. So if you're saying it in the morning, it really sets a tone for your day. Most people that are very wealthy have a morning habit where they do some sort of meditation, or they do affirmations, or they do something like this in the morning. Also, spiritual practices are great to do in the morning because, again, it just kind of really gives you a real jump on the day. Like you saw in mine, you can use pics in there. You can put pics in the image itself that convey emotion. If you have emotion when you say these things, and you can say them more than once, it really allows those things to really become powerful. So I want to share this quote with you from Steve Jobs. It's an awesome quote. It says, "Everything around you that you call life was made up by people that were no smarter than you, and you can change it, you can influence it. Once you learn that, you'll never be the same again." So I hope that this really inspires you, that whatever your situation, whatever your challenges, whether it's in finance or other areas, that you can change it, that you are not a victim, that you actually can create affirmations, you can start to believe those, begin to see your life change in powerful ways. So I'd love to know what affirmations you're saying about yourself or things that you're believing that are going to happen this year or in the future for you. So if you can stick that in the comments below, I'd appreciate it. Also, I created these affirmations, a whole list of affirmations that you can kind of plug your name in. It kind of give you an idea of some more examples of this. It's in the link below. Just a click link, you'll just see, you can find different goal as well as identity statements that are there, some things that I put together. So click on that. You can find that in the description of this video. And please consider subscribing if you made it this far, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the next video.